At FIE, we're not just
students
and faculty.
We're not only learners
and lecturers.
We are expanding minds,
Expanding futures.
We're redefining the classroom.
We are life-changing.
eye-opening. We are a community
Driven by our values.
That wants you.
you.
Yes, you.
To join.
Picture this. It's your very first day of college, but instead of moving into a dorm just a few hours from home, you're standing in a historic square in Dublin, or walking down a London street, jet-lagged but exhilarated, or greeting your new classmates in Madrid. The excitement is the same, the butterflies, the possibilities, but everything around you is different. For a growing number of students, this isn't a fantasy. It's the beginning of their real first-year college experience. I'm Dr. Heidi James Dunbar, and this is In the Field, the podcast where we explore all things study abroad. Today, we're diving into a bold idea: first-year study abroad programs, an innovative partnership model between universities and FIE, Foundation for International Education. These programs aren't just about seeing the world. They're a strategic solution to help universities boost enrollment, strengthen retention, and offer students something priceless: the chance to begin their college journey with a global perspective from day one. So, what happens when students start college thousands of miles from home? How do universities make it all work? And who helps make sure that every student abroad feels safe, supported, and seen? That's what we'll be exploring today through the voices of the students who live it, the directors who design it, and the teams who make it happen. We begin with Abigail Penny, a first-year student who decided to take an unconventional leap, starting college in London. So Abby, take us back to that first day. What did it feel like stepping into your college experience in a new country?
It was definitely an adjustment, especially with the time change. I want to say the first day that we got here, we all went to our dorms, we unpacked, then took a quick nap, and then after that we did some orientation activity. I don't remember exactly what it was, but then after that we all took another nap because the time change was so brutal the first day. But then we all went out as a group after, and we got dinner, and it was very nice. It was like I just had a good feeling about being here, and it really set the tone for how the semester is going.
Fantastic. And what made you decide to start your college journey abroad instead of at home?
When I first got the invitation to be here, I was given four options of where to go: Dublin, Rome, London, or Madrid. And I was very torn between London and Madrid, I will say. But London, I know the city pretty well because my family's from here. And I've been very comfortable here. So I would say that how comfortable I already was here did have a big influence on me choosing to be in London. And I also did think like, oh, the proximity to other countries, it's going to be so easy to travel, to see other cultures. And London is already a very culturally diverse area. So I was very excited about that. And I thought that that would definitely contribute to a lot of good things for my education.
Were there any moments early on when you thought, I can't believe I'm really doing this?
Yeah, definitely. The first few weeks, I would wake up and I had just come from home. I had just come from my own room in my own house, and I would wake up in this bed in a foreign country, and I would think, wow, I can't believe I'm actually here. Like I mean, I'm definitely excited to be here. I'm studying, I'm going out with my friends, I'm seeing my family that lives in London, but I just can't believe that I'm actually here doing this because I've seen so many people come to other countries for their first semester, and I always wondered to myself, "Oh, how is that gonna go? Like, is it different? Is it a big adjustment?" And I will say, like, it it was an adjustment, but it wasn't too bad. It wasn't bad at all, I will say. I I just couldn't believe it. And now it's finally really settling in like, oh, I'm here in London in the present, and I'm so happy to be here.
And what kind of personal growth have you experienced? I mean, maybe say in terms of confidence or adaptability or perhaps independence?
I definitely will say I've never had to go grocery shopping for myself, so that was a big thing for me. My roommate and I, we go grocery shopping, I'd say like once a week, maybe once every week and a half, and deciding which things to buy, what we really need versus what we want. That definitely was a big adjustment. And then that I feel like that's helped me to be make better like choices regarding, financials, and budgeting, and also the responsibility to wake myself up for every single class and to be timely, and because everything's in walking distance like from my residence, but to maintain the fact that I have to be somewhere at say 2 o'clock, I need to leave the house by 1:45 if I want to potentially, if I have to make a stop on the way, or say there's traffic or something and the cars aren't letting us through, like I will it's definitely made me have better time management and feel more confident traveling by myself.
That's really fantastic, I think. And they're the kinds of hidden values often. We think about it in terms of academics and stuff, but I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this experience to other first year students?
I definitely would. It's a very good opportunity to get to know, a smaller group of peers before you enter into a massive college. It's great for that. It's great to really get a sense of what academics are like in another country as well, because I will say that the academics here are very different. Where I find the United States to be like more test and exam oriented. I'm doing a lot more writing here, and I really do enjoy that. And it's not something that I was used to. So I will say experiencing different academic pedagogies it's definitely helped out with my worldliness. So definitely would experience, or I would recommend this experience to everyone. I think it's amazing.
For students like Abby, a first year abroad is about more than classes or sightseeing. It's about learning to navigate a new city and yourself. FIE's locations, London, Dublin, and Madrid, are carefully chosen for their balance of cultural depth and accessibility. They're cities where students can explore safely, while still feeling supported as they take that first big step into adulthood. Behind every successful first year abroad programme is a team of educators and administrators working to make sure these experiences align perfectly with institutional goals. We spoke with Dr. Bruce Fleming, Director of the iCharleston programme, College of Charleston, who helped design their first year abroad initiative in partnership with FIE. What inspired your institution to create a first year study abroad programme?
So back in, must have been about 2012, 2013, there were kind of two inspirations. We had a president, Dr. George Benson, who really wanted to push College of Charleston's international footprint and was looking for different ways to do it. And at the same time, my good friend of the program, friend of London and FIE, Jimmy Foster, had returned from Northeastern University. He had taken a year up there as vice president, student admissions, something of that nature. And he had learned about the Northeastern's first year abroad program. And we were starting to see a benefit from an expansive recruiting effort across the U.S. And we started to see our numbers, admissions numbers, application numbers go up. And so we kind of thought, hey, if we've got these increasing admissions numbers, for example, last year, I think 2025 cycle, I think we had almost 36,000 applications for first year spots.
Wow.
So, we looked at it and said, hey, we've got an appealing campus, we've got an appealing city, and we know that we can build a first year study abroad program and find a cohort of students to go from there. And so that's really the one reason we built is because we had a captivated audience. Obviously, from study abroad stuff, we know that there is high impact kind of opportunities there. We know study abroad is a high impact practice. We know students who do it come with better retention. They come with better graduation rates. They're more mature. They're more comfortable, more confident. And so one of our arguments was, why are we waiting until traditional fifth semester, the spring of the junior year, to reap all those benefits? And so we thought, why not start early and get them as a study abroad and get their first semester? And that really is kind of the reason we saw this as a benefit. We're a middle population school of 10,000 students, and we knew that 100 or 120 students in this program every year could really make a ripple effect across campus. You could have classes where a faculty member is asking a question and a student can say, hey, that's a really great answer that my peer just provided, but let me tell you what my experience was when I lived in London my first semester as a freshman. This is what I saw, or Madrid, or Dublin, or Rome, and they would bring that information back to the campus and just enrich our classes.
That's so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
How does the program fit into your university's broader enrollment and retention strategy?
So this is, it's a great conversation I've had with Jimmy Foster, who has returned back on campus, which is great. He's a great friend of mine, a colleague that I've known since, at least 2008, 2007. We've been great friends. And one of his arguments always is we want to put students in a variety of buckets, and we don't want to rely on fall admission only, because that can prevent some challenges if that dries up or something of that nature. So part of it is we want to put students in different buckets. We obviously also are a public institution, so we've got a responsibility to our South Carolinian students, and that's going to be a higher percentage of our inbound class. As I mentioned, we have a very large applicant pool, and that applicant pool is coming from outside the state. So we have a hard time serving that population, and they're very strong students and very excellent students, and we know they retain well. So part of it is also trying to find that group of students that we think would fit into the iCharleston program and be successful beyond, and make sure that they're retained and go through graduation in that timely 4-year fashion. The other part of it for us is looking at it from a marketing standpoint. So obviously, there's 4,200 universities in the U.S., and we're competing for those students as everybody is. And some of our peer institutions, we are very unique compared to them because of the iCharleston program, or a first-year experience abroad program that myself and Jimmy kind of kicked off, albeit 13 years ago, with our special topics class. So it's just an opportunity to say, hey, if you go to university up the road, they're going to do some cool things and great things. If you come to us, you're going to get those cool things, but you're also going to have another opportunity called the iCharleston program, or a first-year experience abroad, or a study abroad earlier than other universities.
And I think with FIE offering and emphasizing customization to fit with you guys, have you seen how that alignment helps students feel connected to Charleston even while they're abroad?
Yeah, so I think there's two kind of directions on this one for sure. One is FIE, for as long as we've been friends and partners and colleagues, has always been super flexible and has always been willing to work with us and with what some of our expectations are. So a great example of that, when we first all started together in 2014, and we had Dublin and we had London, and then we had Western Canada with University of British Columbia, our Dublin students with FIE were taking the English writing college, the English, our equivalent of our English 110, but we didn't have that in London. And I think yourself and myself and probably Julie sat down and worked together, because what we were learning, our Dublin students were coming back and were reporting to us that they were not having as much challenge with the writing component of being at the College of Charleston, because they had that early onset writing program. And so I think you all were obviously customized our program to build an equivalent English program, English equivalency, to meet not only our requirements, but obviously what you all needed from your experience. And what we've learned now after that, because I think we brought that in maybe 2018, 2019, something in 2017, something of that nature. Our students coming back from London have reported that they're not intimidated by the writing level at the College of Charleston, or the speed or the expectations of that faculty member, who are seeing these students for the first time in January, but probably are not realizing that they were not here in fall, until there's a conversation
Right.
one-on-one. But when you're looking out in a class of 35 students in January and 2 or 3 are I-Charleston students, they're obviously not going to stand out. And we really appreciate that flexibility, that customization. I think the other thing too is our site director model. It's not common that faculty or that institutions send a site director staff for the most part. And our site directors play an integral, large part of the success of the students, as you know, and you've worked with them. And so I think that flexibility, that customization as well, to allow us to bring a little bit of our campus to your location. We talk about that a lot with our bricks on campus as a signature sidewalk. So when you're on our bricks, you're on our campus, because we're an urban campus downtown. So it's a very separate entity compared to the other main parts of the downtown Charleston. And having our site directors there, and then having our visitors coming over once a month, our academic advisor, all of those pieces of the puzzle allows us to bring our campus to London or Madrid. And you all have been always super welcoming, not only from a collegial standpoint, but just willing to allow us to do that, because I'm sure it's at times a little bit overwhelming to have a bunch of visitors.
No, not at all. I think you're absolutely right. I think it's really important that there is that synergy, and that sense of you are a Charleston student here, like that there is that, that there is a sense of continuation for when
Yep.
those students hit the ground running when they get back for the second
sure.
semester.
Yep.
What kinds of outcomes or transformations have you seen over the years in the students when they do return?
I say this to parents all the time now that we have, this is the end of our 11th year in I-Charleston. Parents have to understand that their students are coming back more confident. They're more comfortable. I think they're more connected. So I call it the 3 C's. They understand why they're at the institution and why they're in post-secondary education, which I think at times is always a challenge with your traditional 18-year-old when they get dumped off at a college campus in August or September. I think they have a better sense of what they may want to do, and I leave that really to FIE for being super good about utilizing experiential learning, having amazing faculty, amazing support in the residence hall, student affairs, and just allowing those students to kind of grow and breathe with a little bit of guardrails on them. I think those 3 things happen a lot. I've always talked about what I call the 80-10-10 rule in training. Our site directors probably are more than sick of it from hearing about me or hearing from me, but I talk about, I'm like, 80% of our students are in this program because they saw the opportunity and they have selected that opportunity. They think it's a good fit. And those students obviously really take advantage of everything. There's 10% of students that I think want CFC in a manner that they're willing to jump through the hoops and do what they're asked. And then I think there's always 10% that are kind of like, they don't really know, was the program a good idea? Was it not? Was it just their only opportunity? Who knows? But I think 100% of the students come back and you can ask them to a T, why do you think you were successful, and what was it that helped you move on, and how is it going to springboard to your next steps? And they can easily say that, I'm matured, I'm more confident, I'm more comfortable, I can make a better connection. I think that's a fair assessment for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And after 11 years, have you seen how this initiative has impacted your university community as a whole?
Yeah, so let's think back to year 10, and last year we were all in London with our president Shu. We were with our board of regents, board of trustees chairwoman Renee Romberger, Paul Patrick, Jimmy Foster, myself. I couldn't imagine when we started in 2014 that 10 years later, minus COVID, obviously, that we would be having this celebration with like 40 students and 20 FIE people and stuff. And so it's become embedded in the institution. Um, and to a point where as I'm walking across campus, I'll see President Shu, or I'll see Dr. Alicia Cadill, who was just there, or maybe our academic advisor, and they're just constantly asking, how are things going? What's the success rate and all that kind of stuff. I think the bigger component of that is our, our site director team and where they've kind of landed. So, counting the site directors that we've had this year in 2025, we've now hired over 30 site directors since the start of the program. And I don't mean 30 actual roles or 30, site director rotations. I'm talking 30 plus humans. And we've got one who works for the New York Yankees. We have one who works at Medical University of South Carolina who finished her master's. We have one that it works I think Malin's a captain in the Army as a nurse.
Wow.
And stationed, in Anchorage, and basically flies around helicopter rescuing people. We got people who work at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. We got people that work in private industry, people that work, outside in nonprofit. So I think that impact is great. And thinking about what we do for our alumni who are young, 22, 23, 24-year-olds, they get their first job with us and get to then expand out from there. I think that's a big impact for sure.
Yeah, a fantastic opportunity. And if you could sum up the value of the program in one sentence, what would it be?
One sentence. So, I think we go back to kind of the 3 C's, where it's connecting, comfortable, confidence, opportunity to expand one's horizon and try something that potentially is new, but will build success as they move through their college track.
For many universities, these programs represent a strategic balance, helping manage capacity and yield while offering students an extraordinary start. But success depends on trust and partnership, and that's where FIE's local teams come in. If academics sets the vision, the support team are the heart, ensuring students feel at home, even when they're half a world away. I caught up with Minari Jayasena, part of FIE's on-the-ground support team in London, to ask her some questions. What's it like welcoming students who are brand new to college and brand new to your city?
I'd say it's very exciting and deeply rewarding. For first-year students, it's most likely the first time they're sort of living away from home and adjusting to new culture. So we focus on creating a sense of sort of belonging from the moment they arrive. We do this particularly with our orientation program that is designed to help students sort of transition smoothly into both academic and local life, whether that's through the delivery of presentations from all departments, the guided tours of the local area led by FIE staff, and introducing them to sort of theatre and the welcome reception that we have and the activities calendar every semester. We also have sort of community building activities through RLSs from the Residence Life team. So overall, it's just amazing to witness students evolve from feeling uncertain to feeling capable. So seeing that growth is what makes our work so meaningful and impactful, I'd say.
And what systems are in place to make sure students feel safe, supported, and academically successful?
Yeah, absolutely. So student safety and well-being are central to what student life does in general. We have multiple systems in place to ensure that students are supported holistically, whether that's emotionally, socially, and academically. We mainly prepare students at the beginning of the semester by including a health and safety orientation aspect to the student life part. And one main part of this is that student life team offers pastoral care within the team, meaning that we're happy to speak with students one-to-one and offer them further guidance. We also connect students to counselling services and resources, both internally and externally if necessary, signposting students to other health-related queries as well. Our Residence Life team is brilliant. They provide a 24/7 on-call support for emergencies. So there's that support overall from the student life team. Academically, we collaborate very closely with faculty and academic advisors to help students adjust. So this also helps us as a team work together for those students who need more support and more handholding. But overall, we aim to create an environment sort of where students are encouraged to feel both independent and supported, so they can feel confident to explore, but they're never actually alone in their journey, I'd say.
For all the FIE team, it's about helping students stretch, but never snap, to give them space to grow while keeping a safety net beneath them. Through guided cultural immersion, reflective learning, and community engagement, FIE's approach helps students build not just academic success, but self-confidence, curiosity, and resilience. I spoke to Lizzie and Madeline, site supervisors from Charleston, who accompany their students as part of the first year programme. How do you help them find balance between independence and guidance?
So we have to do something called like a teaching philosophy before the start of every semester. And one of the things that both Lizzie and I included in our teaching philosophy is that we are here to be used as a tool, but not a solution for issues. And so that means that, let's say a student comes to us and they're like, I turned this assignment in late and, or maybe I'm not going to be in class today. Okay, thank you for telling us, but, you need to be the one to advocate for yourself, and you need to be able to reach out to your professor and say, hey, just so you know, like X, Y, and Z happened, and here's where I'm at. And that self-advocacy is something that we really prioritize with our students. On top of that, we also establish boundaries really early on. So when the students come to College of Charleston for orientation, we have a PowerPoint slide where we talk about what we do and what we do not do. And so one of the things that we do not do, for example, is we're not travel agents, right? We're not going to sit down and we're not going to book your trips for you, or give you recommendations on you have to go here and here's how you get there and here's the train you take and that kind of stuff. We established that we are here for support. Absolutely. We established that, we are here basically to be used as a liaison for College of Charleston and FIE. So our role is more to connect you to the resources that you need instead of just coming to us at all hours of the day, whenever you have any kind of issue, right? And then leaning into that as well, self-advocacy is something that we really push on our students in our course. So when we teach Passport to CFC, we are constantly reminding them that self-advocacy is the most important skill that you can take home with you after your time at FIE, because it is going to be invaluable, not just in your college career, but also in your career as an adult. And even outside of your career as an adult, it's always important to acknowledge that you can advocate for yourself in whatever setting you're in.
Tell me more about your Passport to Charleston classes and courses and how that connects back.
So one of the main ways that we stay connected with our students is we have a class called Passport to CFC that we teach once a week. It's a 1.5-hour course that they attend on Tuesdays. And essentially, what Passport to CFC is a space for them all to come in. They sit down. It's lecture, discussion, activity based. And so we're kind of in the classroom, out of the classroom. And it's a curriculum focused on how to be a college freshman 101 is essentially how you would explain it, right? And so with that, we get to see their faces guaranteed once a week, which is really nice. And at the beginning of the semester with week 1, we have a document that we pull up and we basically say, what can we do to make sure you feel, supported and safe in the classroom? So is that respecting everybody has an opinion and they have a right to that opinion? Is it treating each other with respect and kindness? What does that look like for you? What makes you feel respected, right? Questions like that. Acknowledging that everybody in the classroom comes from different walks of life and they have a different background, family, friends, location, right? They're not just from South Carolina. Actually, none of them are from South Carolina. But we have students from New Jersey. We have students from Texas. We have students from Florida. So you have people from all over the states who don't know each other, who are coming together from all sorts of different backgrounds, and making sure that, we're a team and we're here to support each other as a team. And so let's not work against each other. So I think that document is really helpful to kind of pull up in week 1. And that's kind of a guideline that we continue to adapt as the semester goes on. On top of that Passport to CFC class, we have one-on-one meetings that we host once a month. And so these are 30-minute to an hour-long meetings with these students who sign up with either one of us. And it's just a space for them to sit in our office and talk, right? So it can be about anything. It doesn't have to just be academic. It's personal, it's travel plans, it's family, it's friends, it's here's my bucket list, here's what I want to accomplish. And so it's a really fun opportunity for us to get to know them better, but it's also a great opportunity for them to come to a space where they can vent and be honest, because nothing leaves this room outside of the two of us, unless it's, of course, like an emergency. But I think those one-on-one meetings really give them the space to be honest and be open. And of course, it's awkward at first, but as the semester progresses, they do become really comfortable, and it's really beautiful to like watch them become, people in our eyes. So that's really great. And then I mentioned earlier, like establishing boundaries. And so that's absolutely something that we continue to do. And one of the great things about FIE London is that they all live in the same space, which can be complicated in of its own thing. But we have a office located in the basement of their building. And so we are constantly here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, to make sure that, if you have a question, if you just want to talk, pop down to our office, ask us those questions, have those conversations, and we're here to make sure that you are supported and safe. So
how do you ensure that their experience abroad still reflects their home university's culture?
So our role as site directors is we act as the liaison between College of Charleston and FIE. And so we do our one-on-ones. We are constantly reminding them of all the resources that they can use here that also translate back to CFC. And so one of them being the writing support tutors, we remind them that they have those here and the support in London. But what that translates back to of CFC would be in our Addlestone Library on campus, with, the Student for Support office, all of those academic resources. We try to translate them here and then what they look like back on the bricks of campus. And then another incredible way that we kind of implement the campus resources and make for a successful transition is we'll have visitors and faculty from College of Charleston visit throughout their semester. And so, last week they met with Bill Church, our CFC advisor, and he taught in one of our passport classes all about classes and how to be successful college student, what all of those resources look like back on the college campus. And not only is that information, valuable and so important for them to know, but it also makes for an easier transition where they've already met Bill in London and they know that this is what he does back on campus, which is very important. And I think a really cool resource that we use during this program.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That cross-pollination, isn't it? Could you share a story about a student who truly grew during their time abroad?
This was a very incredible moment to just kind of see this student. It started with a very shy, closed off, teary-eyed, a vulnerable interaction that happened back in July during our orientation, or August, excuse me. This student came up to me personally, and I could just tell that they were so nervous and timid. And I asked them, what are you worried about, And they said explained that they were worried they weren't going to meet any friends. They were worried of, missing home. And throughout this semester, as we have 4 weeks left, it is so incredible and rewarding to see that this student has not only gone out of their way to make the most incredible friends. They feel so confident every time we talk to them. We are just blown away by their confidence, their manner, and they are getting shout outs from their professors constantly. And in class, we're seeing them raise their hand, be interactive, and just that progression from orientation on campus in August to picking them up at Heathrow to now, we just cannot wait to see the amount of growth that they are going to continue to do throughout all of their college years. And it started with that interaction and the amount of influence that this program has had on this student, where they're able to travel, they're able to communicate, make friends from all over, and it just sets them up for a successful rest of their college career and years beyond.
That really is special, isn't it, to be a part of that? I wonder, I mean, we've sort of just covered it a little bit, but for you guys, what's the most rewarding part of watching these students begin their journeys?
To piggyback off of Lizzie's story of that one student, I think confidence is one of the most rewarding aspects to watch develop in the students. This is both of our second year doing this job, and so we've now had 2 cohorts of students that we've gotten to watch grow. And at the end of the 15 weeks that we're here, it is always such an like emotional thing to like stand in front of them on like our last day of Passport and just like see the fact that like they're all engaged and they are talking to one another, and you know, like it's such a beautiful thing to watch somebody go from like a stranger not only to us but also kind of to themselves. College is such a wonderful place to go away from like your family, away from what you're familiar with, away from what you know, and really learn about who you are as a person, what you value. And so seeing them develop these opinions on their own and their ability to express these opinions on their own is just, it's an incredible part of this job that I think both of us are very passionate about.
When those first-year students return to campus, after months of navigating new streets, new languages, and new friendships, something's different. They don't just walk onto home campus, they stride. They bring back stories, a deeper awareness of the world, and a renewed sense of pride in their own university community. That's the real power of starting college abroad. It changes how students see the world, how they see home, and how they see themselves. To learn more about how FIE partners with universities to create customised first-year abroad programmes, visit fie.org.uk. I'm Heidi James Dunbar, and this has been In the Field. Thank you for listening. And remember, sometimes the best place to begin your journey is somewhere entirely new. FIE provides life-changing study abroad experiences in the UK, Ireland and Spain. As a non-profit educational organisation, we are passionately invested in making a difference for our students as the future global leaders of tomorrow and the field of international education as a whole. The FIE podcast is a creative and academic space for exploring everything, the people, the places and opportunities that make your experience so valuable and exciting.
FIE, we're here to help you
Unlock a wider,
brighter future.